Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, UUCBV, or Brazos UU for short. My name is Terry Metcalf, and I'm your worship assistant this morning. I come to this church because I believe strongly in the seventh UU principle, respect for the interdependent web of existence of which we all are a part. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. We welcome people across diversities of race, age, ability, immigration status, and belief. So, whoever you are, wherever you have come from, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are also a reproductive justice congregation, and we respect your personal reproductive decisions. Please visit our website, brazos-uu.org. While we're in the midst of building our new building, our website and our weekly services are our church home. If you would like to contribute your musical talents, if you have a story to share about your life's journey, or if you have a passion for social justice or the environment, we would love to hear from you. To learn more about our community, you can join our email list and our monthly newsletter. You can also find us on social media by searching UUCBV.
Our call to worship today is a series of Carl Sagan quotes that I've put together. Carl says, "Science is not only compatible with spirituality, it is a profound source of spirituality. When we recognize our place in that immensity of light years and in the passage of ages, when we grasp the intricacy, beauty, and subtlety of life, then that soaring feeling, that sense of elation and humility combined, is surely spiritual. So are our emotions in the presence of great art, or music, or literature, or acts of exemplary selfless courage, such as those of Mohandas Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. The notion that science and spirituality are somehow mutually exclusive does a disservice to both. For me, it is far better to grasp the universe as it really is than to persist in delusion, however satisfying and reassuring. How is it that hardly any major religion has looked at science and concluded, this is better than we thought? The universe is much bigger than our prophets said, grander, more subtle, more elegant? Instead, they say, no, my God is a little God, and I want him to stay that way. A religion, old or new, that stressed the magnificence of the universe as revealed by modern science might be able to draw forth reserves of reverence and awe hardly tapped by the conventional faiths. At the heart of science is an essential balance between two seemingly contradictory attitudes: an openness to new ideas, no matter how bizarre or counterintuitive they may be, and the most ruthless skeptical scrutiny of all ideas, old and new. This is how deep truths are winnowed from deep nonsense." I invite you to light your own chalice, if you have one, as I light our chalice today. Please say our chalice lighting words with me. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. Now, all please join in saying our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
To see our world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour.
To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour.
To see our world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour.
Our Time for All Ages today comes from Our Place in the Cosmos by Erica A. Hewitt. We humans have always looked up at the stars, wondered about them, and even told stories about them. During the many thousands of years that human beings have been looking up to the stars, we've changed our understanding of what the universe looks like and how it works. More than 500 years ago, a man named Nicholas Copernicus was born in Poland. He watched the stars and planets and used his observations to come up with a pretty unique and upsetting idea. In his day, most people thought that the Earth was the center of the universe. They also thought that the stars were little holes in a glass ball around the Earth. Copernicus thought, what if the universe doesn't move around the Earth? What if the Earth is actually a planet circling the sun? he wrote a book about this idea, which wasn't popular. In fact, if he hadn't died soon after, it's possible he would have been put in jail. Today, we know that Copernicus was right. Our planet circles the sun, which is a star. It took a long, long time, hundreds of years, for people to finally believe this and to stop saying that the Earth was the center of the universe. But for hundreds of years, the belief that the universe revolved around the Earth was so stuck in people's minds that it became a part of religion too. It was kind of a religious belief. So when Copernicus said, "I don't think the heavens revolve around the Earth," he was speaking as a scientist. But the church heard it as challenging their religion. There's a word for that: heresy. That meant that not just scientists, but anyone could get in big trouble for promoting the idea that the sun was at the center of our solar system. Believe it or not, this upsetting theory of Copernicus intersects with the story of our Unitarian ancestors. Not very far away from where Copernicus watched the planets and the stars, there was a land called Transylvania, a land of rolling green hills and mountains. Transylvania is where some of the first Unitarians built their churches and formed their faith, right about the same time that Copernicus wrote his book about the Earth revolving around the sun. Our Unitarian ancestors already knew what it was like to say and believe things that could get them into trouble. One of those things was Eg Ozishtan, or God is one. When they said God is one, they were saying that they did not agree with the Christian doctrine that Jesus was God incarnate, but that he was fully human. A lot of Unitarians in Transylvania and elsewhere died because they wouldn't stop believing or saying that. One of the villages in Transylvania, today a part of Romania that's ethnically Hungarian, is called Oakland. Its Unitarian church is over 400 years old. Like a lot of Transylvanian Unitarian churches, the church has a wooden ceiling that's divided into deep, square panels. Most of them have flowers or plants painted on them. But there's one very special ceiling panel, a sun surrounded by circling planets. It's a diagram of the Copernican solar system. In Blessing the World, Rebecca Parker writes, quote, "Holy regard for knowledge is at the heart of our religious faith. At a time when religion was opposing science, our ancestors in the remote mountains and valleys of Transylvania built sanctuaries that affirmed the discoveries of science. They did so even when the dominant religious culture advocated ideologies that allowed no new revelation." End quote. Let us celebrate these gifts, which have been woven into our religious DNA. We belong to a tradition in which religion and science have never been forced apart or asked each other to be silent. We, as a people, encourage one another to explore and discover, to ask questions, and to freely follow the call, whatever its source, that connects us most deeply to the world inside of us and to the universe around us.
Space.com is an article on Carl Sagan by Nola Taylor Reid. Called America's Most Effective Salesman of Science by Time magazine, astronomer Carl Sagan spent much of his career translating technical, scientific explanations into something easily digested by the general public. As a natural teacher, Sagan educated people not only through classroom lectures, but also through interviews and television shows. His 13-part TV series, Cosmos, has been seen by over 600 million people in more than 60 countries. The show was so popular that it returned to television in 2005. Carl Edward Sagan was born on November 9th, 1934 in Brooklyn, New York. He attended college at the University of Chicago, where he earned his PhD in astronomy and astrophysics in 1960 at the age of 26. After completing postdoctoral work, he taught at Harvard University. When that school declined to grant Sagan tenure status in 1968, he took a position with Cornell University in New York, serving as the director for laboratory for planetary studies and the associate director of the Center for Radiophysics and Space Research. Diagnosed with the rare bone marrow disease myelodysplasia, Sagan underwent 3 bone marrow transplants over the course of his life. Due to complications from the disease, he contracted pneumonia, which led to his death on December 20th, 1996, at the age of 62. Although Sagan was most widely known for his scientific communication with the general public, he made many significant scientific contributions as well. When Sagan was in graduate school, many scientists thought the planet Venus was similar to Earth. As part of his doctoral research, Sagan computed his first greenhouse model for Venus' atmosphere, which revealed a higher temperature than previously suspected. Later, he suggested that dust storms on Mars caused the seasonal changes observed on that planet, and he also wrote a series of papers on the organic chemistry of Jupiter's atmosphere. As an advisor to NASA, Sagan helped design and manage the Mariner 2 mission to Venus, the Mariner 9 and Viking trips to Mars, the Voyager system to the outer solar system, and the Galileo mission to Jupiter. He also helped brief astronauts prior to their trips to the moon. Sagan helped lay the groundwork for 2 new scientific disciplines, planetary science and exobiology, or the study of potential life on other planets. He co-founded and served as the first president of the Planetary Society, an organization dedicated to inspiring and involving the public in space exploration. And he promoted the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI Institute, where he served as a trustee. But Sagan was far more visible as a scientific educator than as a researcher. He was gifted at breaking down scientific concepts into explanations that the public could readily understand, while avoiding talking down to them. He authored hundreds of popular articles, more than 24 books, and he frequently appeared in Time magazine. He was on the cover of the October 20th, 1980 issue. Carl kept firmly planted in both the planetary research community and in the greater worlds of science communication and science policy, according to astronomers Yvonne Terzian and Virginia Trimble, as they wrote in the American Astronomical Society's obituary for Sagan. At Sagan's request, NASA commanded its Voyager 1 spacecraft to turn its camera on Earth, creating an image that came to be known as the pale blue dot, one of the most famous pictures of Earth from space ever taken. In Sagan's New York Times obituary, then president of the National Academy of Sciences, Bruce Alberts, said, "Carl Sagan, more than any contemporary scientist I can think of, knew what it takes to stir passion within the public when it comes to the wonder and importance of science.
Our reading today is a series of Carl Sagan quotes that I put together to say something a little more. Carl says, "We live on a hunk of rock and metal that circles a humdrum star that is one of 400 billion other stars that make up the Milky Way galaxy, which is one of billions of other galaxies, which make up a universe which may be one of a very large number, perhaps an infinite number, of other universes. That is a perspective on human life and our culture that is well worth pondering. For myself, I like a universe that includes much that is unknown and at the same time much that is knowable. A universe in which everything is known would be static and dull, as boring as the heaven of some weak-minded theologians. A universe that is unknowable is no fit place for a thinking being. The ideal universe for us is very much like the universe we inhabit, and I would guess that this is not really much of a coincidence. Before we devised artificial lights and atmospheric pollution and modern forms of nocturnal entertainment, we watched the stars. There were practical, calendrical reasons, of course, but there was more to it than that. Even today, the most jaded city dweller can be unexpectedly moved upon encountering a clear night sky studded with thousands of twinkling stars. The size and age of the cosmos are beyond ordinary human understanding. Lost somewhere between immensity and eternity is our tiny planetary home. In a cosmic perspective, most human concerns seem insignificant, even petty, and yet our species is young and curious and brave and shows much promise. In the last few millennia, we have made the most astonishing and unexpected discoveries about the cosmos and our place within it, explorations that are exhilarating to consider. They remind us that humans have evolved to wonder, that understanding is a joy, that knowledge is prerequisite to survival. I believe our future depends powerfully on how well we understand this cosmos in which we float like a mote of dust in the morning sky."
This presentation concerns Carl Sagan, who was born in 1934 and died in 1996. Carl Sagan once said that his own sense of wonder, combined with the encouragement of his parents for his pursuit of unusual interests, were the factors that led him to his choice of work. He was best known for popularizing science and presenting science in an understandable and interesting form. It is a fitting tribute that the Mars Pathfinder lander was renamed the Dr. Carl Sagan Memorial Station when it touched down on the surface of Mars in July of 1997. Now we go back to the 1939 New York World Fair, when Carl Sagan was 5 years old. The great scientist Albert Einstein opened the fair with the following statement: "If science, like art, is to perform its mission truly and fully, its achievements must enter not only superficially, but with their inner meaning into the consciousness of the people." This statement by Albert Einstein later became the vision of the Cosmos series on television, founded by Carl Sagan and his wife Anne Druin, and is now continued by Anne Druin and Neil deGrasse Tyson following the death of Carl Sagan. In 1939, the Second World War was only months away, but the New York World Fair was celebrating expected achievements and learning from the future of science. Carl was passionate about learning astronomy and its implications for the world, which was not teaching science sufficiently, and most people were unable to understand and recognize the implications of scientific discoveries and of new technology based on science. The original Cosmos television series and Cosmos book of 1980 helped to arouse awareness about science and challenges for the world. What Carl Sagan and then Anne Druin recognized is that there must be a global awakening because of threats to what we cannot live without, such as air, water. Science also helps to protect what we need. In science, there is objective truth, but no final destination, no absolute truth as we continue to explore and learn, and will continue forever. In explaining the veracity of the Charles Darwin model of natural selection and gene mutation, Carl Sagan stated that if the Earth were only 6,000 years old, there would not be enough time for development of the great diversity of biological life observed on Earth. But now that we know that the Earth is 4.54 billion years old, there was plenty of time, sufficient time for an inevitable and spontaneous development process that led to 10 million species of biological life observed on Earth, beginning with the first self-replicating cell. Carl emphasized the importance of belief based on evidence, and not just because we want to believe or because it feels good. Therefore, we must bring the excitement of science to our young students who are curious and ask profound questions, such as, why is grass green? Why is the cloud white? What is the birthday of the Earth? Why do we dream? We should be able to answer those questions. The practice of science is not just a lot of information. It's a way of thinking that includes skepticism and deliberation, recognition of human fallibility in testing data, retesting and retesting, publishing, and creating a model based on the data, and judging tests by others of the data or model, and a refined model's ability to make accurate predictions as tested by observation. If it doesn't fit the data, then the model must be changed. Now, science and technology are the foundation of our civilization. Nations will rise and fall based on the economic advantages of their population to learn and understanding science and technology. Also, through understanding of science and technology, the threat to us and our civilization is thereby reduced because we are then less likely to destroy ourselves and destroy the world through our effect on the environment, such as runaway climate change or nuclear winter via the use of nuclear weapons. Also, our nation was founded on democracy of the people, for the people, and by the people, which requires an educated populace, as emphasized by Thomas Jefferson. If the people are not properly educated, government will run the people rather than the people run the government. You can see that occurring to various degrees. Recommended videos of Carl Sagan presentations: The Age of Exploration on his 60th birthday, which I consider one of the greatest presentations ever about science and humanity, addressing many issues and including extensive questions from the audience, which include scientists who had worked with Carl Sagan from various places in the world. Also, the Emerging Issues Forum, which invited Carl Sagan to present, and he presented on climate change. In this presentation, Carl Sagan suggests economic actions that should be taken that would benefit us and would benefit climate, such as stop destroying forests of trees which convert this carbon dioxide into oxygen. More fuel-efficient vehicles, which we know how to do that. Alternative energy sources such as the sun, using solar panels, geothermal energy, electricity, and fuel cells. Also, I recommend the interview of Carl Sagan by Mary Hines, Studio 2. This video shows Carl Sagan's humanity, empathy, and passion for life, and his dedication to teaching. Learning from others, and learning from the cosmos, which is the physical universe viewed as a complex and orderly system. Thank you.
If our worship service were in person, this is when we would pass the basket. This church shares the proceeds of the offering plate donation every week to support important nonprofit organizations in the community. This month, we support the Confronting Our Racism group. CORG is a coalition of organizations working to increase our understanding of systemic racism and the way it impacts individuals in our community. Please be as generous as you can. If you wish to make an offering, you can either mail your check or you can donate online. On our homepage at brazos-uu.org, you can find our mailing address at the bottom, and you can see a Donate Here link. In the chat box, you will see that link now. May each of us look into our hearts. How much love, how much generosity, how much faith, how much gratitude, how much hope is there? We give thanks for these gifts we have given and for those we receive and for each other.
The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. The earth is our mother, she will take care of us. The earth is our mother, she will take care of us. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. The sky is our father, we will take care of him. The sky is our father, we will take care of him. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. The sea is our sister, we will take care of her. The sea is our sister, we will take care of her. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. The forest is our brother, we will take care of him. The forest is our brother, we will take care of him. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan.
Now, please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again. From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest, but for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there. on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors so that in glory and triumph they could become momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another, to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.